Welcome back to the Can't Stop Talking podcast. If you want to make December the month that you blow the fucking chimney off your business, this is the episode for you. I want you to listen to this episode all the way through. I want you to save this, implement it, make this your alarm clock if you need to, meditate to this, whatever you need to do to have this episode sink in, because I'm going to teach you the 4 codes to blowing up your business this December. But the best part is you can use these same 4 codes in January and February and March, April, so that you can just literally take the fuck off for the rest of eternity. So strap in, because this is going to be an absolutely incredible episode. I just want to say before we start, I am so grateful for each and every one of you that listens to this podcast. You have no idea. I saw that I am the #1 podcast on a lot of your guys' Spotify Wraps, and I was so emotional, you guys, because there was a time that I created 3 episodes when I first started this podcast, and then I decided that my podcast was too messy. It was too imperfect. I needed a jingle. I needed better equipment. I needed to script out my episodes. I needed better software. Like, I made up this whole story that I was not good enough to have a podcast. And so what happened next is I ghosted my podcast for like 8 months. And then one day I just asked myself, like, do I care when there's a jingle when I listen to a podcast episode? And I was like, no, I fucking hate the jingle. I like to fast forward and get to the actual episode. And I was like, do I like when they're scripted out? I was like, no, I like when someone just talks. That's the whole point of a podcast. And then I was even like, I've listened to podcasts where they're just, recording off of their iPhone and the audio is not even perfect. And I just realized then and there that it wasn't about everything outside of me. It was about getting rid of the stories and stepping into the identity that people want to hang off my every word. And what happened next was I made a promise to myself that I was going to put out a podcast episode every single week, regardless of what I saw in my reality. And so I did that. And I didn't hear anything for 8 months. It was like crickets, because when you make a podcast episode, you can't actually see how people are loving it and interacting unless they message you, right? And so I didn't see anything happening for 8 months. And then 8 months into my podcast, I started getting messages every single week of people being like, I love your podcast. It's changed my life. People I've never ever talked to. Other people were saying that I'm listening to your podcast from the beginning. Again, I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. And so I want you to realize that you are perfect just as you are. Like, I take messy fucking action all the time. And I decide that I don't need anything outside of me to move. I decide that I am incredible and that people want to listen to me. And when you decide that first and you go first, everyone comes second. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm so grateful. And I just want to show you guys how easy it is to become #1 in anything that you do. 90% of podcasts don't get past episode 3. What? That's 1.8 million people who quit. Of the 200,000 left, 90% will quit after 20 episodes. I'm on 90 episodes. Like, this is insane. That's another 180,000 gone. So to be in the top 1% of the podcasts in the world, you only need to publish 21 episodes of your podcast. You just need to be the one that keeps fucking going, because one day you will be on the top of someone's podcast wrap. And you guys, I'm just getting started. Like, this podcast is going to be the biggest thing in the world one day. Mark my fucking words. And you're going to be able to come back and be like, I was listening to her from the beginning. So I'm just so grateful that you guys are all here. And I'm so excited to give you such an amazing episode today. It's time to give you guys the 4 codes to blowing the chimney off your business this December. I've literally had clients go from no one is buying in December to I just hit my biggest month ever. And these are the exact 4 codes that I gave them to do this. So I'm so excited to give them to you today. You are welcome, my dears. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is you can either be the type of person who slows down for the holidays or the type that speeds up. I've been both. When I was the type that slowed down, I literally ghosted my business for November and December. One year I had really bad anxiety and seasonal depression, and I told myself I would wait till January 1st and all my motivation would come back. What happened? I waited till January 1st, I felt the exact same. And I'm so happy that happened to me because I learned a valuable lesson that I'm going to teach you guys right now. I was putting my power outside of myself. I was saying, when this happens, when it hits January 1st, I'm going to get all my motivation back. Instead of realizing that every single day you have the opportunity to wake up and blow up your business. Every single day you have the opportunity to go bigger. And in that moment, I swore to myself I would never let that happen. And the next December after that, I hit my biggest month in my business because of that logic. Because I decided that people are buying, they're buying now, they're buying extra, they always buy. They buy, every time I show up because it's up to me. It's not up to something outside of myself. And I know if you're listening to this episode, you are the type of person who also speeds up during this time. And this is why you are going to be so successful. So the first code is, drumroll please, you guys aren't going to be shocked at all. Decide that December will be your biggest month ever. Period. Everything in your life starts with a decision to move forward. And here's the thing. Most people will decide and then they will do this one thing to mess it up. They will waver when things are happening outside of themselves. They will decide that December will be their biggest month yet, and then they'll, put up an Instagram post and it won't get that many likes, and they'll say, I guess January will be my biggest month. They look at their outside results as an indication of where they're going. That is the opposite of what I want you to do. I want you to act as if this is already set in stone, that December is your biggest month yet, and all you have to do is show the fuck up and claim it. I want you to act as if you are already in January, you're looking back at December and you already hit your biggest month, and how would you be showing up if it was already done? What energy would you be showing up in January if you knew December was your biggest month ever? I want you to take that energy and show up in December like that. That's exactly what I want you to do. And so the second code, you guys are going to laugh, but I'm so serious. And this is where people go wrong. If you listen to the second code, this is all you need to absolutely transform your business. I'm not even kidding. I want you to listen to this really clearly. Decide again. The first code is decide. The second code is decide again. And I'm so serious. Most people decide, like I said, that December will be their best month ever, but only on the days when people are buying. And that is circumstantial power. And that leads to circumstantial results. When you're in your personal power, your results don't dictate your next move. You lead first. And so what does this look like? Circumstantial power is, I got a sale or a testimonial, so now I'll show up powerfully because I feel good about my business and the results. You are using results to feel good about your business. And so what happens the days that you don't get testimonials, the days that you don't get results, your power goes back down. And this keeps you stuck at the same income for a very long time. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in business. This exact thing is the reason why new people blow up. It's the reason why people who've been in this business forever are stuck. It's a reason why maybe someone was, stuck for a while and then they learned this and they absolutely took off. This right here. And personal power, which I want you guys to be in, is I'm going to show up powerfully every single day this month because I'm convicted in myself and my offer no matter what. This skyrockets your income. So what's a real life example of what this looks like? Well, just like what we talked about in the beginning of this podcast, circumstantial power is when I put out 3 podcast episodes and then I listened to all the stories in my head that said, you need a better microphone, you need a jingle, you need to script out your episodes, or you've put out 3 episodes and no one has messaged you. This means that it's not good enough, right? I listened to everything else around me for evidence that I was going to be successful. And when you do that, you give your power away. That's why it's circumstantial. It only happens when things are going well, when people are saying your podcast is amazing, and then you start creating podcast episodes. You're never going to be successful that way because guess what? Everyone starts in the same place. The people who are successful, they validate themselves. The people who are unsuccessful, they need outside validation to move. This is the biggest thing ever. And what I was doing is I was self-sabotaging. I was listening to those stories, and so I stopped taking action. And then my mind was like, see, I knew you couldn't do it. But in reality, I just stopped taking action. And so what does personal power look like? It looks like what I said. I'm going to put out a podcast episode every single week, regardless of what's happening in my reality. And I'm going to validate myself. And I'm going to prove to myself that I will do this and I will stand behind this podcast until it works. I will work it until it works, and I don't need anything outside of me to tell me that it's working. I move first, the results come second. Just take this bit from the episode, you're gonna blow the fuck up. Okay, the third one, you guys know, get behind your product, my favorite. So many of my clients who I told you went from, December is gonna be my lowest month to holy shit, December is my highest month ever. The first thing we did was get behind their offer. So many times you guys are selling something that you're not actually convicted in. And usually you love your offer, you just aren't backing your offer. So you don't have to go create a new offer. I take my clients' offer that they already have and I show them why it's so incredible. And so I want you to be so convicted in your offer that you feel like it's an actual present to your audience. You're like, you're welcome, right? This comes from the inner work. This comes from the mindset. And so when you stop stressing over the price tag of your offer and wondering if people can afford it, and instead, this is where the gold is, start looking at the transformation and realizing that people cannot afford to miss out on it. That's when everything changes. When you realize that people need to be in your offer in order for them to get a life-changing result, you stop looking at the price and you start looking at the fact that, oh my gosh, if they're not in this, they're going to stay exactly where they're at. If they do join this, this is going to catapult their life into a whole new reality. They're going to be so grateful that they were able to join this. Like, that's the energy I need you to be in. That changes everything. You stop looking at the price. You start looking at the fact that it's not about the money. It's about who these clients are going to turn into because of your product. And that is priceless. So 4, talk to the person who is ready to buy now. Stop assuming that your audience is hibernating. Stop assuming that everyone else took off the month of December. Stop stereotyping everyone. And realize that there are people ready to pay in full for your highest package right now. But you need to talk to those people. To get those people in your DMs, you need to speak to this type of person. Not the one you're trying to convince to get off the couch and stop binging Hallmark movies. You guys do, though, have to watch the Chad Michael Murray Hallmark movie and Thank Me Later, where he's a stripper. Oh my fucking God, it's so good. But I wasn't watching that while I was working. I was watching at nighttime. So who is this person that you're talking to who's ready to pay in full in December? And this was the biggest change I made last year, that I started talking to this person. I wasn't giving any discounts. I wasn't, slashing the price. I wasn't adding bonuses. I just started talking to the characteristics of this person, and I started selling my $3,000 DBA package over and over again. People were buying in December instead of waiting for till January because of this messaging. So the person who's ready now they're ready to make big moves now. They're ready to change their life today. They're ready to take massive action. They don't wait for January 1st because they know starting now puts them 10 steps ahead of everyone else. But not even everyone else, fuck the competition, 10 steps ahead of where they're currently at. And so here's a real life example. On Tuesday, I had a client pay in full for a month of private coaching with me. And she said, send me the link. I want to start right away. And so she paid Tuesday. By Wednesday, we already had our first call. And the thing I shared with her on the call shifted her so deeply that she was like, this was worth the entire investment. So that's the person you're speaking to. You're speaking to the person who is ready right now. She already scheduled the call. She's already getting the shifts. And so she's already going to be a completely different person by January. The person who's like, I can't wait to get my results now. And the coolest thing is when you talk to this person who's ready now and wants to take action now, instead of the person that you have to convince, this is also the person who gets the best results because they move. They move big. And so if you've ever had that problem, I had someone DM me and they were like, I'm having a problem with getting people to pay in full. And I'm also getting a problem with them like getting the results that I want them to. And this comes down to your messaging. When you talk to the person who has the characteristics of someone who gets amazing results, then they come into your container and they get amazing results. Easy, simple, obsessed. I just love it all. So let's just go through the 4 codes one more time. Decide that December will be your biggest month ever, or whatever month that you're listening to this. Then decide again. Then get behind your offer and talk to the person who is ready to buy now. And that's it. And so when you're ready to have your biggest month ever in December, which therefore sets you up for an even bigger month in January, February, March, April, and every single month after that, and all throughout 2025, then that's when you hire me. And so I don't hope you like this episode. I know you fucking love this episode. I know this episode had so many shifts, and I know you're feeling like a completely new human after this, and you're going to wake up tomorrow and go even bigger than you did yesterday, and you're going to keep doing that cycle again and again and again, and you are creating your own results. I'm so excited. I love each and every one of you. As always, if you like this episode, please message me. I love hearing from you guys. Tell me how you're going to go bigger. And yeah, share this episode with someone who needs to hear this. Rate this. Subscribe, and I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to keep growing our businesses together and get to the fucking top, because there's an abundance of wealth and clients all over the world who need to hear what you are saying from you. I love you.